What up, this is David, and today I want to talk to you about building skill and how going slow is going fast. So I remember there was a time in my life where I was like deeply into learning about building skill, building faster skill. How can I get better at this? How can I get better at this faster, right? And I used to hit like all the books and do all the research and learn about the brain, learn about like myelin and how that works and all that stuff, right? And what I learned over those years, was that going slow is actually going fast. Doing it the right way and doing it slower is actually better than going fast and learning it the wrong way, but doing it faster. So in the sense, it's like the shortcut is the long cut, the shortcut is the long cut, right? And maybe the long cut is the only way to develop better skill and to do it the right way. So what I want to talk about is kind of like, I want you to imagine like skill being a seed. Okay, skill being a seed. Maybe thought being a seed. When a thought, that birthplace of thought becomes a seed, right? And then once that seed starts to like, kind of like sprout and expand, that's when you take the action. And then when you think about like skill as a seed, you want to think about like slow growth, growing that seed slowly but properly. And in that way, so the reason why I'm emphasizing like slow skill building is because like if you build a skill the wrong way, then you have to like go back and erase all those bad habits. It's almost like you're taking like 10 quick steps forward, but then in the long run, you have to like take like 50 steps behind, 50 steps back, right? So this is what I like to call like ego skill building. You're wanting to learn fast to validate some kind of ego. So instead of learning that, you got to kind of like abolish the ego and learn it the right way, learn it very, very slowly. And I got this concept from a book called Talent Code by Daniel Coyle. And also there's another great book by the father of the 10,000 hour rule, K. Anders Ericsson. It's called Peak. Amazing books, amazing resources on building skill. But like, let's pretend like you're practicing the piano. You want to be able to practice the piano deliberately and slowly, so much so that when a passerby notices you practicing the piano, they won't be able to recognize the song. You want to be going that slow, like just deliberately moving one finger at a time, like they're going so slow, like going at a snail's pace, right? And you want to keep doing that repetition after repetition and just put in those reps until it kind of becomes like this muscle memory. Like I told you about that seed, right? Until that seed starts to grow in a certain way, you want to keep doing that. Maybe like, I don't know, like a few hundred times, doing that same phrase at a very slow pace. And then once you have that down, and then maybe increase the speed a little bit, maybe increase it by like 50%, right? And then you do that like few hundred times, and then as you increase the speed again, and then you're like at a normal pace now, and then you do that like a few bajillion times, and then that becomes skill. And that skill built in the proper way, so that you don't have to like go back to like a wrong move that you've been doing your entire life, and then try to undo those habits and then build skill again on top of that, right? So you want to set the foundations right. You want to plant the seed the right way and make it grow in the direction that you want it to grow, okay? So that you don't have to like go back and like cut down the tree, cut down the seed, de-root the plant, and then plant a new seed. So that's about skill. And I also wanted to talk about hotbeds and what that means. And in fact, I will talk about that concept further in another video, because I think it deserves a separate video in and of itself. But that's it for now. You know, I hope you can use this information to actually build skill the right way and do it right the first time, rather than going back and redoing it, and to build skill faster, because that's how ultimately you build skill fast, by going slow. You build skill fast by doing it deliberately. So that's all I had for this video. Hope you found this one useful, and talk to you in the next one. Peace.